am associated with this drama, but like, I am not the drama. I am not the...
What in the actual hell was this episode? What in the actual hell was this episode? I mean, was it, amazing? Was it reality gold amazingness? Yes. Do I think that there should be justice for Maria at this point? Yes. Do I think that this episode was absolutely ridiculous? Yes. And we're just going to get straight into this recap. Guys, I literally just finished watching this episode, but I felt like I needed to just get on here and just get straight into the recap so you can get my full-on fury, my full-on reaction to what I just witnessed. So let's just get straight into it. So of course, episodes are now starting off where they show, a scene from like later on in the episode, and it starts off with Joey saying, looks like he's on a group date, like the night portion, and he's saying that he heard that there's some drama in the house and that people should, come forward to him if they feel like there's drama and that he's worried about it, and that he heard the word bully being mentioned, and he's very worried about that, and he needs people to come clean to him. And I'm like, oh, well, okay. Obviously, this is going to be about the whole Maria and Sydney and Medina thing, and my God, is it. This whole episode was about them, and it was ridiculous. But, well, trust me, you will hear my thoughts. We rewind, of course, and we have Maria talking about moving forward and focusing just on Joey and not thinking about what happened with Sydney in the last week. All the girls talk about their journey so far. They're all sitting on the couch just talking about moving on and about Joey, blah, 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 blah. Then we have Mr. Jesse Palmer, who was hilarious this episode, I will say. He really brought some joy to my life in this episode, I'm not going to lie. But he announces that there's going to be 2 group dates and 1 one-on-one. Sydney and Maria get to go on the first group date together. So at that point, I was like, all right, let's let it begin. Let the craziness begin, because we know it's about to get crazy up in here, and it's about to get ridiculous. But basically, they go to a big theater, and it says Mrs. Right. At this point, we're like, okay, what the hell's going on? Like, we're okay. Obviously, there's maybe going to be like a talent show or something like that, right? But guess who's there? We've got some gals from the freaking Golden Bachelorette, our favorite group, the Askin group. Susan was there, who is my absolute favorite, and she looked like $1,000,000. Please, what? Susan. Put Susan on this show. Oh my God. Susan is, I want her to find love so much. I want her to find love. Guys, if you haven't watched my Golden Bachelor recaps, highly go recommend. I actually did reactions to that season, so highly recommend you go and check those out because my God, they are so good. Such a good season. But we find out that they're actually doing a pageant in front of a live audience. They have 1 hour to rehearse, and basically they're going to be doing a Q&A, a talent show, and then I think there's like a, they show their outfits, which I think is supposed to be like a Sunday fit wear, like comfy Sunday outfit, right? And then we have Sydney, who says, oh, I am so confident. I used to be in Miss Massachusetts, United States when I was 16. I know all about pageants and I know everything. And that's when I knew. I'm like, okay, she's going to fail, isn't she? She's going to fail, isn't she? Should I be smiling? Because I don't want to smile. I hate, picking sides, but sorry. This episode I don't know anything about Sydney, but all I know is that the way she's being portrayed on TV and the way that is being showed to me, I don't like her. I don't. Sorry if you do. This is just my opinion. But we start off with the Sunday Chill loungewear. All the girls show off their outfits. Very cute. Blah, blah, blah. Nothing important. Then we have the Q&A challenge where they basically ask the women from Askin ask questions to the ladies, and they have to answer it in front of Joey. We find out that he really likes Kelsey, and there's some mystery there. And I will agree with that. I do think that there is a mystery to Kelsey that we don't really know, which I think is what draws Joey into her, is that he doesn't know a lot about her, but he does really like her. I do see that there. They ask Lexi what she loves about Joey the most, and she's like, well, he's so handsome, blah, blah, blah. But what I love most about him is his heart. I'm like, oh, bitch, she gonna win. She gonna win just by that. Lexi really, really pulled out all the stops in this episode, in this whole date, I will say. And it kind of rubbed people the wrong way, which was interesting, but I still like her. I haven't gotten any ick vibes from her. Oh, Lord. So then we move on to the talent portion, and everybody's doing their talents. Looks like Maria's like a gymnast or a dancer or something. She was doing flips and stuff. And then it's Sydney's turn. And, Yo, I thought she was gonna go out there and like do dancing and do all this stuff, but she does a cheer that is so awkward.
L-O-V-E, Joey is the one for me. Everybody.
Yeah, immediately no. Immediately no. Immediately no. Like instantly, I was like, yeah, no.
R-I-G-H-T, Mrs. Right. That's me.
It was so awkward to watch. I literally had my eyes closed. I was literally like, oh my God, please stop. You are, girl, please stop. For the love of God, please stop. I couldn't. It was so bad. It was such a bad cheer. And everybody was like, because she was like, J-O-E-Y. It was, oh my God, it was piercing. First of all, she was definitely a cheerleader in high school, and she really gave me cheerleader vibes in this episode. Anyway, it was bad. It did not do very well. It was bad, and I couldn't wait for it to be over. And then we have Lexi, who really, really pulled out all the stops on her. She says that her talent is that she's known as the best kisser, and she wants Joey to try it out. And she basically makes out with him in front of everyone. And it really rubbed people the wrong way because they felt that, like, she didn't really put effort into it. It was kind of just like, well, that's not a talent. And I'm like, they're not wrong, but she really put herself out there, and I think that's what Joey really wanted. It wasn't necessarily about the talent itself. It was about her putting herself out there and being uncomfortable. So I think that's what he liked about it. It wasn't necessarily about the talent, but it was smart. It was very smart because she got some time with Joey, and I think he really liked her because I think he's like really attracted to her, so I think that really, really helped. But as I say, Lexi ends up winning the Miss Is Right competition. She gets a little tiara and everything. But like I was saying, people just weren't happy about it. And I think it was interesting because, you have Medina who was saying, like, I'm 31 and, I'm feeling old and all this stuff, right? And then Maria was like, girl, like, you're not the oldest one. Like, it's fine. And then we find out that Lexi's 30. And I'm like, Lexi's 30? I'm like, first of all, I did not know she was 30. She looks great. But she's also not really talked about it at all. And again, we're not undermining her feelings. If she feels that way, that's great. If she feels like her age is an issue, then she feels that way. But I did think it was interesting because I thought Medina was like the oldest one there, but I'm like, she's like a year older than Lexi. Like it's not like all the other girls are 20 and she's 40. Like I don't know. That was just me. But anyway, all the girls are, we're going into the night portion of the date. All the girls are talking about it, and they're all talking about, about how they felt that it wasn't right that Lexi didn't have a talent. Like, a lot of the girls are kind of like chit-chatting, like Edwina's one of them, like saying like, oh, that's not fair. And at this point, because Lexi's out talking to Joey and they're having their own little moment, and everything's great with them. He's happy with her. Nothing really to report there that's really important for this recap. But what I found important about this little section here was Edwina was saying the stuff about Lexi, about how, she felt like other people put more effort in and she didn't. And then we've got fucking Sydney, who decides to pipe up and be like, well, Sydney, Lexi's one of my friends, and I don't think it's right that you're, like, talking about her like that, like, behind her back. And Edwina's like, I'm not talking behind her back. Like, I will tell her this straight to her face. So I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, Sydney. This is when I was like, Sydney, stay out of people's freaking business. And the thing that, I'm going to go on a rant here. The thing about Sydney that really gets me is that she's riding or dying for these people like they are her best friends for life. Girl, you've been here for 2 weeks. Why are you spending so much time worrying about these other women, defending everyone else? And also at the same time, you're trying to defend your friend, but then you're taking time from your friend being able to have more of a connection and wasting your time that you could be using to talk about Joey. Instead, what you're doing, or talk to Joey, excuse me, but instead what you're doing is wasting your time by being annoyed by Maria the whole fucking time in this episode. I cannot. Oh my God, we're going to get so into it later. We're going to get so into it. Oh my God. So then we have Kelsey talking to Joey about how uncomfortable she felt and that she doesn't like attention. And he continues to talk to her and says that he didn't realize that she was uncomfortable because she did look comfortable. And he was very happy that she went out of her comfort zone like this. And I'm like, oh, that's great. He's excited about her. He feels good about her. And then this is when I want to have my little rant about Joey, which I talked about last episode. And it's just like, Joey feels confident about every single person. Every single person who he had a conversation with, he was like, oh, I'm so happy that you really put yourself out there. You were so uncomfortable and you did that. And then he'll be like, oh my God, that girl makes me feel so giddy. I feel so good about her. I really see her like going with her till the end. He says that about like every single woman. I cannot tell who he is genuinely interested in. Like I like have no idea. He treats every girl the same. He looks at every girl the same. He kisses every girl the same. Like, I'm like, do you actually like anyone? Is this just for the... Blink, Joey, if you like anyone. Because literally, he treats every girl the same and says that he feels confident and interest in every single girl. I can't see... I haven't seen a moment where he's lit up, like, for real. Like, comment down below if you've seen it, because I swear to God, I have not seen it. I have not seen it. But yeah, he continues to talk about how he's intrigued about Maria, and then Maria, because Maria's talking to him at this point, and we find out Maria says that she's an introvert, and she's like, I know it's kind of hard to believe, but I am. And she kind of throws a little bit of a jab at Lexi, but not in a really direct way. She kind of just like, well, if I would have known it was a kissing contest, like I wouldn't have done this because I was like so uncomfortable. And then that Joey's like tries to like be like, hey, like it really wasn't about the talent, and it had nothing to do about that. It was more about wanting to see what you're showing your personality, and for me to really see more of who you are, and for you to show me like how uncomfortable you could be, blah 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 blah. But what was interesting is like she threw a jab at Lexi, but she never talked smack about her, which I appreciated, because like she didn't need to. She was like, I don't really care. Like I care, but I'm not going to talk about it to the point that I'm going to be like, well, why did Lexi win and I didn't? Like kind of thing. And then this is where the night really started to shift, y'all. This is when I knew, all right, the rest of this episode is going to be all about this goddamn drama that just is so ridiculous. So Medina goes and talks to Joey. Here we go. And I'm like positive because the way that Joey brought this up, like to me, just felt so like random and out of nowhere. In my opinion, it felt like left field. But he basically says, oh, well, last time, when we were having at a cocktail party, you were telling me that something was going on and it was, you just didn't really want to talk about it. But I just want to open the space up so you can let me know if there's anything bothering you that night. Like, you can talk to me about it. I want this to be a safe space. And I'm like, did the producers tell him, like, hey, you should ask Medina about what happened at the cocktail party? Because I think that was a producer move, because I felt like it was so random that Joey brought it up on his own. Like, I'm like, why was this brought up? It's probably because the producers were like, oh, maybe you should ask her, about what happened that night or something. I don't know. It just felt that way to me. But he basically asks her, like, to tell him, like, hey, did something happen that night? And Medina, at first, she's like, well, I don't really want to talk about it, but... like she's kind of like hesitant, which I understand. Like she was hesitant because I think she kind of knew that if she brought it up, it could bring drama. But I think she also wanted to be honest with Joey because Joey was kind of giving her the floor. And I think if she would have kept it in, maybe she felt that Joey wouldn't like that. So I think that's why she decided to open up. Now, in her defense, I'm glad she didn't bring out names and say, this person said this smack about me. But what I didn't like, and it's a big thing everywhere about people using the B word, and I don't mean bitch, I mean bully.
Mad that I wouldn't tell her who told me that she said the comment about, like, she's not even that old. So, if I had to describe it, I felt like I was being bullied. Tell me who it is, tell me who it is. And I just kept politely saying, like, could you please just move past it? Like, that's not why we're here.
She basically talks about how whatever happened, that there was this person who she felt made her feel bullied. Not that she was a bully. She was just saying, I felt really bullied because she kept coming after me, asking me who had told her this stuff about that she was talking about me. And at first, it took me a while to be like, wait, what did she just say? I had to rewind it, to be completely honest. But she was talking about Maria. When Maria came to her, you know, being like, hey, like, I heard that somebody's telling you this stuff that I talked about you, and like, that's not true. Like, who was it? You know, and granted, I think Maria just came in a little bit hot, but I never looked at it as in a way that she was bullying her. That to me was a little far-fetched. It was a bit far-fetched. I think she really was trying to like find out information, because she was like, girl, like, that's not me. Like, I'm trying to find out. You tell me who's saying these things. But the fact that Medina threw out the bully word, automatically that puts you in a different box in that person's mind. In that person's mind, now you are not considered a good person, that they found out that you were being bullied or that you were bullying someone, you know? But Joey then asked, like, oh my God, like, I'm so sorry that you felt like that. I don't want you to ever feel that way in this space. And he's like, do you have a name? Do you feel comfortable sharing who it was? And she was like, no, I don't want to say. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, at least she didn't say, yeah, it was Maria. It comes out, people. Surprise. It does come out eventually. But we go back to the house. We find out that the person who's going to be getting a one-on-one is Jen, which at first I was like, oh, really? I'm like, that's an interesting choice. I do see her in the previews, but I'm like, that's an interesting choice that it was Jen. But she's so cute. I was happy for her. I'm like, I'm excited to see this date. She's very cute. We get back to the group date. And we basically see the scene from the beginning of the episode with Joey coming to the table and being like, hey, I heard there's drama and I don't like it, etc., etc. But then he just, you know, gives Kelsey the rose, which I understood. I could see that Kelsey was going to be the person he gave it to. I completely saw that coming. But he says that if there's something that he needs to know, that he wants to be told. And in that moment, I was like, well, we already know, based on the preview, that Sydney's going to be the one to go and pretty much rat on Maria and tell him, like, oh, she's not here for the right reasons. She's a mean girl. I want you to know who she is. I just knew that was where that was going, and boy, does it go there. But it gets really sideways, pretty much starting now. Joey leaves, and everyone in the room is very, like, taken aback. They're like, oh my God, like, why is he acting like this? Like, that was like a switch. Like, what's going on? Maria's confused. She literally was like, what the fuck? Like, when he said, like, oh, someone has told me that there's a bully in the house, or someone's being bullied, and you literally see the camera pan to her, and she's like, what the fuck? What is going on? Like, she is so confused. I genuinely believe that Maria is so confused. Like, she literally has no idea why Sydney is after her. And I completely get it. Like, from what they're showing us, I don't get it either. But Joey leaves, and Medina decides to just tell the group about the conversation. And that's probably the reason why he said what he said. And she kind of just says, like, you know, I told him, you know, Maria, that I felt this way. And she's like, wait, you told him that I was bullying you? She's like, well, I didn't tell him any names. He doesn't know it was you. I didn't say that it was you. And I didn't say that you were a bully. I just said that I felt like I was being bullied. And Maria's so confused. She's just like, what did I do to make you feel like you were being bullied? Like, please, like, tell me. Like, I don't want you to feel that way. Like, what is it that I did to make you feel that you were being bullied? And, she was like, that's not the case. Like, what I was trying to do was just to clear my name. I wasn't trying to bully you. And she goes off to say, like, you know, like, bully is a really, really big word. Like, I've been bullied. I would never bully somebody else. Like, why would I ever do that? And then as the conversation progresses, freaking Sydney decides to get involved. And I'm like, girl, stay away from this conversation. This is not about you. Why are you getting involved? Oh my God, I'm so passionate about this. Why?
That's my opinion!
Why, Sydney? Why? Why is she getting involved? I literally could not take it.
I also felt bullied as well.
First of all, honey, please, just you, I don't want to hear from, no offense.
The whole time, she started making everything about herself. Like, this was about, let's remember, this started with about Medina talking about feeling bullied. And then the fact that Sydney jumps in and takes over the conversation and then proceeds to then act like Maria was the one who started it shocks me. Absolutely shocks me. Guys, comment down below. Do you feel this way? Because I honestly could not believe what I was seeing. I could not believe it. And the fact that then Sydney also jumps in and says, well, you know what? I agree because I felt bullied too. You felt Maria didn't. When did Maria ever come to you and say anything about you? And on top of the fact that Maria never even said anything that bad. Like, if we would have heard Maria being like, oh my God, Medina, I can't believe that girl. Like, how could she? Like, she didn't say that. She was just like, girl, like, I'm old too. Like, I want her to be, proud to be. Like, she wasn't meaning it in a malicious way whatsoever. And the fact that Sydney has twisted these words and these thoughts into what she believes in her mind, I can't accept this behavior. I cannot accept this behavior. I can't. And then Maria, like, basically goes off and she's like, girl, like, what is going on with you? Like, what did I do to you? Why are you getting involved in this? Like, you're being a troublemaker. This is not about you. I don't understand why you're doing this.
And Sydney, Missy Troublemaker, needs to stop. Stop. While you're in your tracks, stop. You're making things worse. Just leave it.
Yeah.
And because Maria was like fighting back, like Maria wasn't just staying silent, Sydney takes this even more as an attack and is more like, I can't deal with this. I want this to end. I need you to stop talking to me, blah, blah, blah. I don't need to be around this negative energy. Like, the most ridiculous accusations I have ever heard when she's the one who inserted herself into the conversation. If she would have let Medina and Maria work it out, that would have been it. It would have been the end of it. But the fact that she continued to put herself into the conversation and take over it, and then later on says that Maria's the one who was attacking her and she needed to stop, when Maria from the beginning was the one who told her, please stop.
I'm so confused.
Maria, I'm done talking to you.
Because you have nothing to say.
I'm done.
Just
I'm not
explain to-
putting any more energy into this.
I'm giving you the opportunity to, like, just...
I'm gonna walk away. I have to walk away from the situation.
I can't. And then she's like, I'm gonna take a walk. I can't take. She walks out. She comes back in and she's like, ladies, I just don't want to be around this negative energy. So if anyone else feels like the same way, like, you guys, you can come with me. And nobody goes with her, which to me shows exactly what they really believe about Maria. She's the one who fucking started it. She is the one who fucking started it. I've never been this upset on this damn show. Like, upset that I'm so annoyed at how ridiculous this is and how much they're wasting time for nothing. For nothing. And the worst part is that all the other girls believe it too, and nobody was saying anything. And that bothers me as well. It bothers me that a lot of these women who were there knew that Maria wasn't a bully, and they would talk about it to, like, the side cameras, or they would talk about it to each other, but they would never speak up to Joey or speak up in the group. Like, I would have been like, I'm sorry, but am I missing something? Because Maria is not a bully. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. So the next day, we move on. We're in the house, and people are saying, Maria's not a bully. Like, I don't get it. I think Edwina's the one who's, like, talking about it. And you hear Maria going to Medina and talking about, like, hey, like, let's just, I just want to put this past us. And I don't want you to feel that, like, I was bullying you, because that's not the case. And he's like, and she's like, like, you and me, we're good. And then Medina has the nerve to be like, well, I don't want us two to just be good. I want all of us to be good. I'm like, have you not seen the way that Sydney is reacting? Like I know that they're really they're like this, but girl, you could see that Sydney's starting shit. And anyway, Maria, you can clearly tell, is trying to clear the air. She is trying to let shit go. She just wants to leave that in the past. She just wants to focus on her relationship. She literally just wants to do that. And Sydney keeps bringing her into this drama. And it is a detriment to her and Joey's relationship. And she deserves better. And I'm just going to say justice for Maria. Justice to Maria at this point in this episode. I'm just saying at this point, because you never know, things can change. But for right now, justice for Maria. So then it's Jen and Joey's date. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this date was kind of like a little bit of a snooze. They went surfing. Great. I mean, the girl is gorgeous. My God, she is so damn beautiful. I'm like, oh my God, hot. hot couple, very good. But they just had like a really normal date, like nothing really fascinating happened. It was very much like Daisy's date. It was, well, I mean, at least Daisy got the helicopter, but Jen, like, she just got a surf date. And I'm like, all right. And then they went and had dinner at a funeral home. It literally, like, they show them walking and it says funeral services, funeral home. And then they're like in the, where they're eating, and you can just see like all the like church looking things, like those glass windows that are like tinted that are in churches. I'm like, this is weird. They couldn't pick a better place to have a dinner? A funeral home? Really, ABC? Really? Come on, you guys can afford Billie Eilish. Come on. Did you blow the budget on Billie? Oh, Lord. But we find out more about Jen, which was nice. We find out about how she's been in really bad relationships in the past, and how she believes that it really stems from the family that she was brought up by. And I'm like, oh, shoot, okay, what happened? So we found out that growing up, her parents fought a lot in front of her. And for many, many years, her dad basically lived in the basement while her mom lived upstairs. And they didn't have a very good relationship. Like, her and her dad, like, she felt very lost, and that she felt very unwanted by her dad, and she feels that because of that she felt lost, and that she couldn't find love, or that she was never going to be worthy of love based on like what she saw with her parents as a relationship, which is so important. You know, what we see as kids with our parents is how we grow up and view relationships. So, you know, if you grow up in a relationship where you saw your parents fight all the time, you probably think that relationships, something's missing, something's going to be going wrong, right? Compared to somebody who comes from a family that's very well loved, and a very like loving couple, then you're going to be like, oh, like that's what I want mine so to be, you know what I mean? But it was really sad. She said that she never felt love from her dad, and that her dad is not a part of her life anymore. I was like, oh my God, this is serious, which I liked about these dates. I liked in Daisy's date and in this date that we found some really like, you know, vulnerable moments with these women, which I really liked. While that's going on, then we have the girls at the mansion finding out who's going to be on the second group date, which basically, based on the card, they're going to be playing tennis. Because he says, I'm tired of playing singles anymore, or something like that. So they all guess, okay, we're obviously going to be playing tennis. So then we go back to the one-on-one date, and Joey goes with Jen outside, and then all these like drones pop up, which I don't know if you've seen, but there's like these drones that can make like words and images, and they look like stars in the sky, but they're just drones. And it says like, so Jen, will you accept this rose? And then she says yes, and they kiss. And I was like, oh my God, the music, I love this music they're playing. It was really nice. And I have to say, I did feel something when they kissed. I was like, oh, okay, I feel spark. I felt a little bit of a tingle. I was like, okay, I like this. Now, do I know if Joey felt something? I have no idea. Because again, I do not know when he likes anybody more than the other, because he acts the same with every single woman. Then we go on to the next day. Joey's out there playing tennis. The girls come on in their fitness outfits. We meet some pros. No idea who they are. Some tennis pros are there. They practice hitting the ball. And then we have our famous Jesse Palmer come out, and he basically says like, oh, are they ready for some competition? But this is going to be very different, and that they should go to the changing rooms to find out what is ahead. And I'm like, ooh, so it has to do something with outfits maybe? And it's hilarious. Basically, they have to play in teams in these huge costumes. So you have I think it's Daisy and Autumn as babies. Then you have Rachel and who was it? Rachel, I can't remember the teams. And Star, I think, were Hot Dog and Bun. They just play back and forth. You see everyone losing and having so much fun with it, which I thought that would be like, at first I was like, oh, this is kind of blah. But then it ended up being like super duper fun, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was super cute. The lobster and butter win. I said, yes, my girls. Black girls for the win. Then we have the night portion. We find out that Caitlin was on the date. What was she? Oh, Ladybug. I forget what they was. She was something else, but Caitlin, she goes to Joey and basically tells him that every woman in her life is single, and that it's a family curse, and that she's hoping, or that her mom was like hoping, or her family was hoping that she could break the curse, but that there was no pressure. She understood it was no pressure, but it's like a funny joke. But in the end, they both just say like how, they're all single, but they are very independent, strong women. And Joey really likes her and is happy with her like he is with every other girl. So, Lord have mercy. Rachel goes and talks to him as well, and she gets stuck on his sweater, which is so funny. That could have been a good fake out just to be closer to him. Just saying. He probably smells nice, right? It was funny. But she talks about how his qualities remind her of her dad and how he's all about the little things and that he is very gentle and that's why she sees Joey acting like that, which is why they had those similar attributes. And I will say, I think the second group date was better for all the women there. I felt like all the women had a moment to be vulnerable with Joey and talk about their life, which gave them much more of an opportunity to really talk about themselves and for Joey to really get to know them better. We had Daisy as well talk to him about her cochlear implant as well. It was very cute. She was like, hey, like I know I said a lot last time. I just want to know if you have any questions. I want you to feel comfortable. I know this is something that's different. And she's like, oh, do you want to touch it? And he's like, oh my God, yeah. So she teaches him how it works, how it comes off. And it was just a very nice thing to see on TV. I really appreciated seeing that. And he just says, like after he told me all that, I was just like, oh my God, this woman's incredible. Like what she's been through. And I think he really appreciates Daisy. But I think where I'm not feeling something and like I want her to go far, but I think the reason why she might not win at this point, things will change in the next couple of episodes once we're done with all this damn drama. I think that there's gonna be like a passion possibly missing. I feel like that might be like something I'm missing, but that's just me. I don't know. Comment down below if you disagree with me. But in the end, Caitlyn ends up getting the rose, which I was surprised, but good for her. Happy for her. Then we have back at the house, Sydney and Leia talking about Maria. And I'm like, why? Why is this important? Again, I'm going to have to grab my mic. Why is this important? Why are we on the side talking shit? Do you see Maria on the side talking shit to anybody? Being like, oh my God, Sydney, I can't believe she's talking. No, not once have you heard Maria even talk to anyone else about Sydney. But here we have Sydney fucking gossiping with everyone else about how like she's a mean girl and she needs to tell Joey and this is upsetting, blah, blah, blah. And there's one thing I didn't like. I didn't like this moment because I liked Leia, but she had a really icky moment for me there. And it's when she's like, oh man, like I don't want to see anybody. Like we're all going to be going home and I don't want to see anyone going home. And then she kind of like gives like a look and she's like, well, most people. And
I don't want anyone to go home. I mean, maybe so.
And I'm like, oh no, strike one. I don't like that. Girl, you were in my good graces in that first episode. You were in my good graces. I did not like that little comment. I didn't like that. I was like, don't be talking about smack about Maria because you're going to be joining the barrels at the bottom for being just ridiculous. Then we find out that, Mr. Jesse Palmer JP comes out and says that they're going to have a pool party with Joey because he wants to spend more time with them and that he will not be having a cocktail dinner portion and that there will be KFC. And I'm like, KFC catered this event, I guess, and hashtag sponsored. Clearly, KFC sponsored this episode because there was KFC everywhere. I didn't know The Bachelor loved KFC that much, to be completely honest. So Joey gets here and you just see him like talking to all the women, doing their thing. And I said, okay, here we go. Insert my favorite meme.
Here we go. Here the fuck we go.
Sydney is basically talking to the girls and saying, I'm going to tell Joey. She's been mean to everyone. And I'm like, are you kidding? And she's like, I just want to be at peace. And I want to tell Joey. And I'm like, girl, if you want to be at peace, leave it alone. Every season, guys, we have one of these women. And I cannot, for the life of me, understand what they're saying and why they feel like what they're saying is correct. Like, I can't. Like, the way that this show is framing everything and editing it just makes Sydney feel like it is incorrect. Like the way she's being shown on TV makes her seem like she is in the wrong compared to what you see with Maria. Because not once have we seen Maria attacking anyone, saying anything bad about anyone, nothing. The only person she has talked bad about is Sydney because we have gotten to this point. That is literally the only time. But every season we have one. She says that Maria was attacking her and that she verbally attacked her. I was like, I cannot.
But Maria instantly started attacking her. And then I became Maria's target. She verbally attacked me and I just sat there and held my composure.
But Sydney, gets with Joey and basically tells her everything I just said, just says like she attacked me, she verbally attacked me, she's mean in the house, she bullied Medina, all this stuff. And Joey's like, what the fuck? Are you kidding? Like he's like shocked because he really likes Maria at this point. Like we know he really likes her, right? And then to get this knowledge from someone, like obviously you're gonna be goddamn confused. And what's hilarious is that Joey probably watching this back now is like, what the fuck? He's probably just as confused as all of us. Like, where is this stemming from? Like, he's basically at this point just confused. He can't believe it. So he takes Maria to the side, obviously, as we knew this was going to happen. And he tells her, hey, I heard this about you. Is this true? And she tells him it's not.
What I did say to her was, you're calling me a bully, and now Joey thinks I might be one. Why? I have been bullied, and this is just not it. And from that experience, I never want to treat anybody as bad as I've been treated in the past.
She gets really, really emotional. She gets very uncomfortable. She feels like she can't even talk to him, really. And she's like, I've been bullied, and I would never, ever treat someone like that. Like, this is too much. And what I loved about the conversation she had is that she never said anything bad about Sydney. Not one word did she say, Sydney's a fucking liar. Why would Sydney tell you that? What did she say about me? Nothing. All she said was, I am not that person. I am not a bully. I have been bullied and I would never bully someone. I know what that feels like and I would never do that. And she just said, she says to him like, well, did you ask her more questions to understand why she felt the way that she did? And I said, ooh, Maria. And he felt dumb because he's like, you know what? Now that you're saying it, you're right. I didn't ask more questions and I should have. And one thing that I really liked was that she said, if you like her, you can't like me because we are two completely different people. We are not the same at all. And that to me is just, she's just confused. She's like, we're very different. So you can't like me and also like her. And Joey in the side interview is basically saying like, that is true. Like, how can I like both of these women? Like they both are very different. And he leaves her and he's saying that he's very confused and he doesn't know how he's going to move forward, but he needs to think about it. Then you have Sydney back in the group just saying, oh, sorry, girls. Like, I didn't want to take the time, but, he needed to know. And I'm like, girl, you wasted the whole day talking about Maria. When did you talk about yourself? When does he know anything about you? Why? Because you're too focused on this other girl who is nothing. You are wasting your time and you're wasting everyone else's time. It's like you watch the show and you wonder, like, have you not seen this show where you're seeing yourself being reflected as that girl who was taking time away from the lead and other women and yourself from creating connections because you were too busy worrying about yourself and being like, oh my God, she's verbally attacking me. She's being like, what? I can't.
I feel really good about my conversation. Unfortunately, it wasn't the substance I wanted to talk about, but I've been attacked.
I can't, especially, I can't get over the fact that she kept saying that she was being attacked. She was being attacked. All Maria has been trying to do is get down to the reason as to why she is saying what she is saying. Or why is she feeling this? I can't. Joey leaves. He says he's going to get ready for the party, and then the girls talk again, and I think Autumn is like, I think she says something. She's just like, well, I just hope that we don't waste more time on this. And she's like, well, girl, like, I'm sorry. Like, that's what I wanted to do. But he needed to know, that there was people attacking me in this house. And Maria's sitting there like, well, that really did affect my conversation with Joey today, because now I don't know how he feels about me and what he thinks. And, she didn't even continue it. She just kind of sat there and said her piece, but she didn't attack anyone. So it's the rose ceremony. Everyone's nervous about receiving a rose because obviously Sydney decided to waste everyone's time by talking about Maria to Joey, and then him spending time having to talk about the fucking drama that is ridiculous. That's not even about her. It's about Medina. Oh my God. And at this point, so Joey gets there. It's time to give the roses out. Music comes out, right? And at this point, like, I knew that Maria would get a rose because I know that in the other previews we had seen that Maria was there having on a date, and I think she gets into it with Jess. So that's why, like, I don't want to be completely, like, clearly Maria rubs some people wrong in this house. So rubs some people the wrong way in this house, because we do see later on that her and Jess kind of have a little bit of a standoff, which is why I knew she wasn't going to come to this. She wasn't going to be going home, because I knew that scene was still coming. But clearly, I mean, but Jess also has a tendency of kind of being like another Sydney, like another villain she kind of started off as a villain. Now she's been very quiet. No one really cares about her because that Taylor girl's gone. And then it's now all become about Sydney and her. So I think in the next 2 episodes or whatever, I think Sydney will go home on the 2-on-1 that's coming up in the next week. I'm pretty sure Sydney will go home, and then that's going to give the room now for Jess to become another kind of villain, possibly. I don't know if they're going to shift gears and really start making Maria the villain. I don't know which way they're going to edit this or produce this, but they could make her the next real villain, right? But anyway, back to the ceremony. We see Maria like freaking out about not knowing if she's going to get a rose. And then, of course, she does give the rose to her. And then there's only one rose left. Sydney at this point is like shooketh that he gave Maria the rose before her, because there's only one left. And I'm like, well, again, I knew she was going to get a rose. But then there's only one rose left. And I'm like, please send her home. Please send her home. And then he says Sydney. And I'm like, so we're going to have to continue with this drama for another week, aren't we? This is never going to end. Why? And then, I mean, not why. Like, I know why. Producers were like, we have to keep her on because this is going to bring in the views, and it's going to let people like me go crazy and talk about it on TV and on YouTube, etc. Everyone's going to be talking about it because they know it's going to continue the drama. And he probably didn't really care too much about the other girls. So he was like, yeah, sure, why not? We'll keep her. Knowing full well that she ain't going anywhere. She ain't going nowhere. She's going bye-bye. We lost a lot of good women this episode, which why it upsets me, because that was time that Joey, all the time that Sydney wasted could have been time that these women had to talk to Joey to possibly change his mind on a spark or a feeling he had about them. And that's why I'm annoyed. Wasted people's time. And I hope to God in the freaking reunion, I hope to God some people say some shit, because I can't stand it. Ugh. So ending the episode, we then finally get our preview for next week, which we're getting 2 episodes, Monday and Tuesday. We're getting 2 episodes, 2-night Bachelor, and we're going to Italy. I'm very excited. We are leaving California. We're going out to the country. I'm so excited. So excited to see it. Looks like Lexi's getting a date. Looks like Kelsey gets a date as well. I feel like those are going to be the 2 next one-on-ones, which I'm very intrigued. I think Lexi is going to be at the top there. She's really moving up this list, my friends. Top 3 at least, I think. It's going to be Lexi's going to be up there. Then we have a 2-and-1 day, which we see is between Sydney and Maria, and I'm like almost positive it's going to be Sydney going home. And I hope to God it is, because I can't take another week after next week of this same shit. Like, I cannot. I can't. But yeah, that was the end of this episode, guys. The best part, though, we cannot leave without talking about this. The best part was seeing Jesse making fun of himself. So Jesse Palmer is in a KFC floaty in the pool, and he's eating a piece of fried chicken, and he's just rehearsing his one line. All right, ladies, this is the final rose of the evening. all right, ladies, this is the final of the Rosalie. This is the final. Oh my, it was so funny because it was him making fun of himself because he knows, and all of Bachelor Nation knows, that it's hilarious that he only comes out just to say, like, this is the final Rosalie evening. And my favorite was the fact that he made fun of it. He's just like, why do I even say that? Obviously, there's only one rose left. Everyone can see it. Everybody knows. Oh my, it was great. I'm so glad they brought that little tidbit in. It made me like Jesse Palmer even more because, you know, I'd always watch the show obviously with Chris Harrison, and when Chris Harrison left, it was kind of weird. They had that weird in between where they had the women from, like, they had Caitlyn and Tayshia as like hosts. Like, it was such a weird moment before they actually had a host. And I have to say, I really like Jesse Palmer. I think he's a real, like, he's fun. He's very different to Chris Harrison, and that was a whole other thing, but I like him. That really sold it for me. For me, that really sold it. It was hilarious. I loved every second of it. But anyway, guys, that was the end of this episode. Again, it was reality TV gold. Absolutely. Was it ridiculous and crazy? Absolutely. Did I still love this episode? Yes, because it gave me the feels. When I get frustrated, when I have moments like this, that means that this reality TV show has gotten a hook on me. It has got me. It has gripped me, and I love that. But anyway, guys, did you like this episode of Joey's season of The Bachelor, episode 3, I believe this is? Let me know in a comment below what you thought of this episode. Who are you in agreement with? Do you agree with Sydney? Do you agree with Maria? Do you agree with none of them? Do you not want to be involved? Let me know in a comment below. Let's talk about it. Let's stay nice in the comments. Of course, we are all allowed to have our opinions, but my God, I sure have one. And I hope other people agree with me because my Lord. Oh my God, my Lord. But anyway, guys, if you liked this video, if I brought you some sort of value, if I entertained you, if I made you laugh, please press that like button. And if you like this episode, also please click that subscribe button so that you will know the next time I post a Bachelor recap. And then, of course, any other episodes that I upload here on the channel. Click that notification bell so that you'll know when that episode is up. And I will see you in the next video. Bye! My God, I can't believe, I literally can't believe it. I am shooketh to my core that this episode happened the way that it was. My God.